The death of Freddie GRAY that started the demonstrations. WJZ is live with complete coverage. Derek Valcourt's live with what city police had to say about their investigation into the death of GRAY and what happens now. WJZ investigator Mike Calgren's live with the night 3 of a citywide curfew and restoring calm. We'll start with Derek at City Hall.
This was a surprising development today. Police said they would turn over their investigative findings to the office of the prosecutor tomorrow. Instead, they moved a day early, and though they are not releasing those findings to the public right now, they did reveal some new information about the case.
I wanted a sense of urgency.
Police Commissioner Anthony Batts announced a day early the long investigation into the death of 25-year-old Freddie GRAY after his April 12th arrest is now in the hands of Baltimore's recently elected top prosecutor, Marilyn Mosby. She will determine whether police face charges.
This does not mean that the investigation is over. If new evidence is found, we will follow it. If new direction is given by the state's attorney, we will obey it and we will follow through with the investigation.
The critical question, what happened to Freddie GRAY from the time he was loaded into the van to the time he arrived at the police station and was found not breathing? Police already told us about this first time. The van stopped when they removed GRAY, shackled his legs, and put him back in. Now police reveal new information. The van made another stop here near the intersection of Fremont and Mosher.
We discovered this new stop based on our thorough and comprehensive and ongoing review of all CCTV cameras and privately owned cameras.
WJZ has learned that video came from security cameras at this privately owned corner store. The owner says the video wasn't picked up by police until Monday. Part of the investigation will focus on this man and what he saw and heard. WJZ's Mike Shue was the first to speak with Dontee Allen, who says he was inside the police transport van with Freddie GRAY for the last part of GRAY's ride.
When I was in the back of that van, it did not stop or nothing. All it did was go straight to the station, but I heard a little bang that was like he was banging his head. I didn't know he was in the van with me until we got to the station.
He tells WJZ he doesn't believe GRAY was trying to hurt himself.
So when we get out the van, they let me out first. Then they open the other side, they calling his name, Mr. GRAY, Mr. GRAY. He's not responsive, right?
The mayor says she's spoken with Freddie GRAY's family about the investigation.
They're not pushing for the release of the information. They're pushing for justice.
The city state's attorney says her investigation, her own independent investigation into this case, will continue. She says she will continue to try to find as much information as possible. She is calling on the public to remain patient and peaceful and to trust the justice system. She says that she is going to continue working with her investigators. What we have not heard from the city state's attorney right now is a timeline on when she expects to make any kind of decision on whether the officers involved in this case should face any criminal charges. It is possible that may not happen for a couple of weeks. Live at City Hall, Derek Valcourt, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Derek, thank you. Complete coverage continues now. Quickly, Atlanta, where another protest is about to get underway in the rain. Christy?
Yeah, Mary, that march is supposed to start at North Avenue and Broadway. There's another one that's supposed to start by Penn Station, and then they're going to convene around St. Paul's. But before that happens, we've seen protests happen all week long, and a lot of people are asking for peace. We just came from a meeting, actually. Some community organizers, Freddie GRAY's really close friends, have asked that tomorrow be a day to remember Freddie GRAY, because on Monday, we remember the family said, please don't have any protests, and we all know what happened that night, and now they're asking that Friday be a day of peace, a day of rest, and just to remember Freddie GRAY.
Please, for 24 hours of peace in riot-torn Baltimore to remember Freddie GRAY.
We never had a repass form.
Juan Dixon was Gray's best friend.
Community, and we wanted peacefully and respectful for our family, for our community, which has suffered enough tragedy, enough losses.
We've seen 11 days of protest after Gray passed from injuries while in police custody. Tensions exploded Monday into violence. Riots swept the city.
We're proposing a day of rest for Freddie GRAY. His day of rest it didn't happen. because of the riots and everything else that took place. So tomorrow, we want to give him his day of rest.
From what you've seen over the last week, what's the most troubling?
Well, I mean, I think the most troubling is that people are trying to express and protest in a peaceful manner. The incident that happened Monday, but preparation for planning up to some of these things that have happened. I mean, it had been in the street, and I think we need to do better preparation.
Organizers are laying out plans to remember Freddie GRAY peacefully tomorrow, while community leaders mobilize plans for the weekend.
There is a protest planned for Saturday by the same individual who did the Saturday protest a week ago, and we all know how that ended.
What's the concern? Are you concerned at all?
We're greatly concerned, and I think the challenge now is to come up with a proactive itinerary for this weekend.
The protests are supposed to start at 4. The crowds were a little small when we first arrived, but again, they're expecting crowds that we saw like yesterday with those college students. Again, the route is from North Avenue and Broadway to convene at St. Paul's with another group coming from the west side of Baltimore and then to walk down to City Hall. Reporting live, Christy Aletto, WJZ Eyewitness News.
Christy, thank you. And our complete coverage continues now with WJC investigator Mike Calgren, who is live with more on the efforts to restore calm to the city and looking forward to night 3 of the citywide curfew. Mike?
Vic, the policing strategy has not changed, with officers deployed throughout the city, monitoring hotspots, monitoring social media, making sure everything is going to go okay. You can see there's still a visible presence here at North and Pennsylvania Avenues. We learned today that 98 officers have been injured since the unrest began, and 201 people have been arrested. 106 of those have been released, but police are still looking at surveillance video before they decide on more charges. More than 5,000 police and members of the National Guard remain deployed around Baltimore to keep the peace, and the city has remained calm. But there are major demonstrations planned for the weekend, including one expected to draw 10,000 protesters Saturday. Pastor Tyrell Green will be among them.
I pray that nothing ever happened, but I am a little concerned because, especially after today's news, I believe that it's going to encourage some of the bad people to do some negative stuff.
At this point, the mayor has no plans to cut short the curfew that has resulted in arrests, but says the situation remains fluid. She also defended the timing of her call for National Guard help.
When you see your city burning, you will do anything in your power to bring the resources necessary to bring healing and to fix a problem. So as soon as it was clear that we needed the National Guard, I made that call without hesitation, without equivocation, period.
I hang with him every day.
Tanisha Smith was a close friend of Freddie GRAY, and like so many, is outraged over his death and sees tensions still simmering across the city. Are you worried there could be more violence?
Of course I'm worried, because if we don't get justice, then it's going to be 20 times worse. You see this library behind you? That's going to be down.
At North in Pennsylvania, there remains a visible police presence as authorities appeal to the community to keep it that way.
Again, we are asking and hoping for peace in the city of Baltimore, as we saw yesterday and the day before. That is the norm in the city, and that is what we hope to see.
And I'm standing just in front of the looted CVS store. Store officials have not yet decided whether to rebuild it, but workers will get paid for the hours that were scheduled. Now, the curfew will go into effect again at 10 o'clock tonight. Last night, there were 11 arrests, 9 adults, and 2 youths. Reporting live at North and Pennsylvania Avenues, Mike Calgren, WJZ Eyewitness News.